Hi guys, Jim Armstrong from the garage in Melbourne. Sound quality may be a bit of shit and you might hear the odd bit of noise because I'm actually doing this from home. It's much easier to do it here than at the gym at the moment. Today we're going to look at the slap. So we're going to look at power generation with the slap, how to do it effectively and also how to learn. I've been teaching for way too long, so well over 30 years. What I have learned in that time is that there's two basic ways to learn this stuff. You can do it the quick way or the long way. Quick way most people teach. I'm going to teach you a slightly longer way. So a lot of this stuff is going to be about what you do internally and about the learning process. You should be able to see here I'm training in bare feet. That's not because I'm traditional. I'm training in bare feet because I want to feel what my weight's doing. When I train combatives or reality-based self-defense, I'll have footwear on. Okay? But for training at the moment, I want to feel what I'm actually doing. Okay? Most of them are in shoes, have no idea about your connection to the floor. And most people I've trained over the years, they're sort of balancing on the planet constantly, rebalancing themselves instead of being set in there. So what we're going to look at first is posture. So again, posture is very important in almost everything we do. Basics of posture, we're going to use the 3 points of the foot, so behind your big toe, just behind your little toe, and the heel. So we want those 3 points, and they're going to be in contact with the floor. Okay, most people are either on their heels, with a little to no contact at the front, or they're on the sides of their foot, or they've collapsed in here. Any of those things, as they come up the body, have a tendency to fuck it up. Okay, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we have these good 3 points of contact. I want to have around 80% of my weight on the forefoot and about 20% on the heels. I'm not back here, okay, and I'm not leaning forward, okay. It's a little bit of both in here. So this is the first point. Feel those 3 points of contact. Next from there, I want to have soft ankles, soft knees, soft hips. Okay, so I'm not completely extended in here. And I'm not flexed. I've just got a little bit of space in there so I can move, and obviously that travels up into the lumbar region, your thoracic, up into your neck, shoulder girdle, the whole lot. I'm nice and relaxed in there. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is pretend you've got a balloon on your head, and the balloon's lifting your head up. As it lifts your head up, tuck your chin in. From in here, next little point is I want my shoulders wide. Okay. When I do my shoulders wide, what most people do is this. This is incorrect. All you're doing is, because a lot of people are internally rotated in the shoulders, and you'll see that because the hands are in front here, whereas your hands should be in and around here. So to make them wide, I externally rotate my shoulders out, and I make sure that my shoulder blades are flat and almost tucked into my back pockets. Nice and relaxed in here. Next little tip is your hips. Okay? We don't want to have an anterior tilt where they go forward or a posterior tilt. I also don't want to be tilted left to right. I want to imagine that my pelvis is like a bowl and it's filled with water. And I want that water to stay in there. As soon as I'm tipping it anywhere, it's going to tip out. As I said at the start of this is a much longer way of doing things, but I feel it's a much better way to learn. Nothing wrong with the fast way, and I still teach that way as well, but I believe you have to do both. Okay? I think anyone can teach the fast way. Okay, there's obviously good and bad teachers, but the long way and this internal way is a harder path, and I don't believe there's a lot of people teaching it this way. So work with this posture, and beyond being able to hit hard and move well, it just looks better. And it's better for your health. This puts all your organs in line, everything's straight up, my lungs have got more room in here so I can breathe better. And as I can do that, more oxygen goes to the brain so I can think better. It's a win-win, okay? What we're going to do in here is I'm going to touch on a little bit of cylinder theory. So cylinder theory is something I came up with years ago. I'm sure there's other people out there with their own theories or a similar theory. You know, at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. Okay, this is just my little journey. Most people are a big cylinder. So when they go to hit, they turn from the outside of the body, whatever the hit is, to the other outside of the body, and it turns like this, a big motion. So if you drew a line, that would follow this direction, and on the rear it would follow that. So from above, you'd look like a tree trunk turning in here. I don't want this big rotation at the moment. Again, it's fine sometimes, but at the minute that's not what we're playing with. I want to turn from the center, okay? The center of your being is if you split yourself left to right, and then you split yourself front to back. Where those two lines intersect, that's your cylinder. That's the very center of your being. I want you to rotate this from in here rather than the outside of your body. Yes, this will move, but it originates from in here and not from out here. It's inside, okay? You're rotating, like Karate Kid 2. They sort of hit onto something, but it's slightly wrong, because it's not real, okay? But a bit of fun. Cylinder theory is many, many things. It's really big in power generation. It's also good in movement. It's also about understanding how to move on the ground, how to wrestle. It's a good part of shredding. It's also good just to be able to maneuver stuff in day-to-day life. So if you're, you're heavy with your hands or you're lifting stuff all day, and instead of lifting it with all your muscles, just lift with your cylinder. Lift with that cylinder as you're grabbing stuff. I'm going a little bit off what I'm supposed to be teaching, but that's how I teach. With a basic slap, when we come in here, this can be attached to anything. I'm going to start on the basics. So if I grab Pete here, it's going to come in with a pad. Yeah, one of the big ones, beautiful. So, these new pads, what I really like about them is they're curved in the front. Okay, so it much more resembles someone's head. Okay, it's not flat. What we're going to play with first is throw the ball. I see a lot of people get this wrong because you think of it as a strike. Don't think of it as a strike. Take that out of the game. Think you have a ball, you grab the ball, and you throw the ball. You're not going to throw the ball and then strike. That's pointless. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to throw the ball. The thing you want to watch for is as you throw it, is to not come off line, is to go through. So as I'm doing this with good posture in here, I've got those 3 points of contact on each. He's got that up. This can be big, it doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to throw in here. There's no intent. I'm just pretending I've got a ball and I'm throwing it straight through. There's a lot of power if you do this correctly. I'm not using my muscular system as we believe it operates in the West. Okay? It's not magic either. If I'm using my muscular system, it's going to look and sound a bit like this. Your body's actually fighting itself. It's putting on brakes because it's firing the wrong muscles in the wrong order at the wrong time. We just want to relax a little bit because we're learning. Okay, this is not about being combative straight away. We're learning how to develop power. So just get the ball, throw the ball. Thanks, Pete. Why do we do throw the ball when I'm talking about slapping? Well, obviously you can slap this way. It's still a slap. Don't think of it as a palm, think of it as a slap. But even when I'm coming around in this way, it's very, very, very similar mechanics. And I like this as a good warm-up, to warm up your elbow and your shoulder to be able to throw in here. So when we come into a slap, that comes around in here, we're going to start big and we're going to make it smaller. So Pete comes in again, thanks mate. A little bit on pad holding. What we do as humans is we talk to each other face to face. So this is how we train. What most people do when they hold a pad up, they hold it to the left. So now I'm training to be here with someone and I'm learning to generate power here. That's akin to me being face to face to you here, but trying to hit something over here. That's not a smart way to train. So there's two things we can do. I can either tell him to bring it to the center as we're holding it, or if he keeps holding it to the outside, I'll move my body. So this is in my center. Either one is fine. As he's holding it, what he's got to watch for is that this doesn't happen with his elbow. So he needs to have a little bit of pressure as this comes forward. The first slap is just going to come all the way back and hit. I'm just warming it up, I'm just playing. As he holds it up, just in here a little bit. Just nice and relaxed, just facing a little bit more to the side. That's it, thanks, man. Like, I'm not caring, there's no... I'm not doing any of this stuff yet, I'm just letting my mechanics work themselves out until my body understands how to hit hard. Pretty simple, thanks Pete. It's good. And you can see when I'm hitting the pad, like, he's not over-exaggerating. Okay, we don't train that way, it's a silly way to train. If I'm hitting a pad and all it is, is this, it normally means I've got little to no power. When I hit this pad, even though the pad's out here, I'm thinking of hitting his center. So when I hit this, his whole body should move. If I hit him in the head with this, he should feel it. Even if I slap him in the arm, he's going to feel it and he's going to move. And I know this because I've done it all over the world. Well, not all over the world, but several places around Europe, Indonesia, Dubai, New Zealand, Australia, okay, like lots of little places. Happens to everyone. Everyone ends up the same, no matter how big, how small, how experienced you are, the power is exactly the same. Get your power generation through play, okay? Just have a bit of fun with it. Be your own science experiment. Don't just listen to me, don't just listen to anybody and follow it verbatim, okay? You've got to put yourself in there and be you, because you are the best at being you. Strangely enough, yeah? You want to be a little bit internal with yourself to go, what does that feel like? What am I trying to do here? And you also want to be external to understand what the goal is. The training and the learning process is an internal process and an external process. And I need both types of goals. Now, once I've warmed this up in here, we'll just look at a couple of little things. I could have you in again, Pete. Thanks, man. It's a big walking over there, but it's a good warm up. So, a couple of little things from in here. When people do this, they set themselves, they'll drop their weight, and they build it up inside themselves, and then they hit. I don't want you to do that in a minute. This is not about a stress test, or this is not about reality at the moment. It's about power generation. This is learning how to get the most out of your body. That's all it is. So as I do this, I don't want to create this. I want to be fairly relaxed in here. My stance can be square. So as I hit in here, there's not a lot of movement in my body. And I'm not caring. So if I do a ship one, it doesn't matter. I'm just playing that, okay, well, I'm stopping on the pad, okay, well, maybe if I change that a little bit, if I think through, okay, that's a little bit better. And again, I want my partner's feedback, because he'll tell me when it's good and when it's not good. Yeah, you're still training, he's still training as he's doing this. He's not just feeling, he's looking to give me teaching points. And that way he gets better just by observing and feeling what's going on. The next little thing, as we hit this, it has to go through. And I know you're all going, we all hit through. Let me tell you something, you don't. Okay, what most people do, as they hit, they come back. So they slap and come back. And they come back. And they come back. So that is a very small point in space and time for you to hit somebody before it comes away. So when you do actually hit someone with it, everything has to align for it to be effective. When you're hitting straight through, you have a bigger time and a bigger space to cause damage in there. I just follow it straight through. As we're doing this again, don't create too much intent within yourself. Don't create that angry mindset. I want you to learn. I want you to be able to smile as you do this. As you hit it, it shouldn't matter. If you have to do this with your face, and you have to do this with your body, mass! If you have to do that every time to generate power intent, thanks Pete, then you're limiting yourself. Because you're only going to be able to access it when you have that emotional state, as well as the physical and the mental state. When you're shitting yourself and you're being picked as a target for whatever reason, and someone's coming in and you want to hit them hard, this is not accessible at the moment. Because you're here going, oh fuck, I don't want to be here, I just want to go home, I don't want to do this. So if all of your power generation and your training has revolved around just that mindset, just that emotional state, and just that mentality, then I believe you're wasting a large chunk of your life. Because most of us are not aggressive all the time. Some are, but it's not a happy state to be in, take it from me. There's times to train like that, but I believe there's more times to train with a smile on your face and to play and feel. Because that way you own the motion. You own the outcome. It's not attached to any negative emotional state. I don't have to do that. I can hit hard when I'm smiling, I can hit hard when I'm sad, and I can hit hard when I've got intent and I'm aggressive. That's what I want. I don't want to be able to just hit hard under certain conditions. I don't know, it's limiting. And it's not the sort of limiting factor that I want to have in my training. Yeah? Next little thing, as we hit in here, so I talked about posture, and I talked about those 3 points of contact in your feet. What you're going to do now as you hit it, is don't think of your feet. You may want to set a camera up and just have a look at your own feet as you're hitting to see what they're doing. Do the front of your feet come off the floor? Do you move to the side? Does it move up? Before you hit, do you lean forward? You want to find out what your body's trying to do to generate power. Normally if you're leaning forward in here, as almost all of us do, but I think for this sort of training you want to eliminate that as much as possible. It's because you want to put as much body weight into it as you can. But if I do this towards anybody, they know I'm going to do something. If I'm here doing this, they're not going to see it if I need to hit them. And for me personally, I'm not going to hit anybody unless it's the last option. There are no other options. This is not about him spilling my paint and going, what the fuck do you think you're doing, and knocking him out. Why the fuck would I do that? It's stupid. This is for when I would have to use it. I don't have any other options. For me, again, it's everyone's personal taste and choice. So as you hit, a little tip, 3 points of contact, most of the weight on the balls of the foot. Think of your big toe nailed to the floor. Again, this is why we're training barefoot at the minute, so we can feel. Yes, you're going to be static, but this is about power generation. Once you understand this and your body gets it, then you're going to move around and be able to hit from anywhere. It doesn't really matter. It's bit by bit by bit. We want to do it stationary first, so we understand it. Okay? So we've done that. You've been playing with that. You've got this in. It's all good. Now we're going to hit it from up. So I'm going to go from here to slam. Okay? So hands here, and I'm just coming through. Hands here, I hit through. I don't believe I'm coming back. I don't believe I'm twisting, but I'll be pretty certain if you put me on slow-mo, I'll be doing both those things. I'm trying to eliminate it as much as possible. I am trying to go from here to there without a lot of body movement in there. I'm trying to stay square. If I just maybe on an angle here, yeah, that would do. Maybe not. So you watch how much my body moves. In here, hands here, still hitting hard. I want you to play with this. Think about your feet, what they're doing. Are your joints soft? Are you up? Again, up is just the prescribed height. I'm not lifting everything up. This is where I should be. As I hit here, you can obviously play with it with dropping as well. It's fine, it doesn't really matter. It's all good. Once I've got this, so once we've done it this way, however many times you go and train, you play. The next thing we want to do is to come from here to up. So that slap comes from a down position to up. Why do we do this? For me, body mechanics, confidence. That's it, that I know I can hit hard from down here. I'm flat-footed in here, I'm square to him, but I can still hit him. I don't have to wind up, there's no thought process. When you're doing this, thanks Pete, most people have what I call a bit of a sneeze syndrome. So as they go to do it, they go ha, 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 chew. That's not the way to do it. It should be chew. There is no ah, 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 ah. And this comes back to the difference between speed of action and speed to action. Okay? Basically, if we're looking at this from a fitness point of view and a skill-based, one is speed, one is quickness. Quickness involves the brain. It's how quick you can get that into a physical action. To hit them, go. What most people do is they go, I'm going to do that, they'll change their body, they'll bring it behind, and they'll start slow, and then they go fast at the end. It's not a good way to train. It wants to be explosive, boom, from the start. As soon as I go here, I go, I want to hit, bang, it's in here. As soon as I want to hit, bang, it's in here. It's not this. Okay? We're trying to make it as quick as possible. Okay? Can you hit someone like this and go, boom, and still hit them and knock them out? Of course you can. Happens all the time. But this will make your percentage chance of it actually landing better, and more importantly, this gives you confidence in you. You know you can hit hard by just doing something simple like this, as opposed to knowing you can hit hard when you split your stance, you bring the hand down, you bring one hand up, this shoulder comes back, and then you rotate your whole body to come and hit. It's not the same level of internal confidence, because when stress hits you, that's only going to get bigger. It's the same as when we stick fight, we teach everything really, really small. Not big. Big as we're warming up, but as we get, it gets smaller, 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 smaller. You want to be small, you want to learn this, so when you get stressed, it only comes out a little bit more. If you're learning big, when you get stressed, it's only going to get bigger. It's not going to get better. Yeah, you can train both, that's fine. I'm not saying that you can't, you can, but I prefer to be small. Once we've got this from up here, what you're going to have a tendency to do is still come out, as you're going to go round to the hip. Round to the hip. What I want you to do is to go straight and then through. So this comes up straight and then through. Straight and then through. Again, this makes it quick and it makes it fast. Straight in there, from in here. Straight. Sorry, I've got a bit of flesh there. That hit? Yeah, good. Just straight in there. Once we get good with this, you'll see I came off on that other one because I was playing and shit, bit of both really. I'm going to pretend that I'm going to throw a left straight away. So I am going to go and then throw that left and come forward. Okay? So I'm teaching myself to react straight like this isn't the end. Okay? That next little bit is I am going to hit more than once. Okay? It might be with the left. I might even just and then hit again with the right. I might go with the head, I might go with the knee, thanks. It doesn't really matter what I go with. But I don't want to rotate externally too much. I want to rotate internally. Because when I rotate from here, I'm still square. When I rotate from here, my balance is off. And if I miss the target, it's definitely off. If I miss the target here, I'm still square. I'm still at you. Being square when you strike gives you power, speed, and recovery. What's not to love? That's what you want to be good at. Yes, you look at some people and they'll tell you that this is the stance in here. I say this is a little bit wrong. Nothing wrong with this part. Nothing wrong with this part. But this part should turn. So this is square. I've rotated my center towards you. I haven't got it away from you. I want my intent at you. Okay? This is what gives me power, speed, quickness, the whole shebang is being square. Your head is normally the target in most applications. So it doesn't really matter if my body's here or my body's here, the head is exactly the same size. Okay, and if my hands are up, it doesn't matter what this body's doing, but if I want to hit you, I'd much prefer to be square, and when someone goes to shit and you hit me, I'd much rather fall back this way, which is what my body would want to do while I'm square, as opposed to being angled off and then when you hit me, the chance of me turning away because my centre is already turned. Just turning in a little bit. It'll be better, and this is how you operate on a day-to-day basis. You make a cup of tea, you don't go, you bring it in. You get on your computer, it's here. You play a piano, it's here. You're not on an angle doing stuff. This is what we do as humans. We know that this is the best place to be. Richard Dimitri calls it the power box. It's a great analogy. Yeah? Or the power lines, whatever you want to call it. Just being square. Everything's in here. This is how I operate. This is how I talk to people. I don't talk to people like this unless I want to get away from it. I don't really particularly like you. My feet are going to face this way while my face is talking to you. But if I like you, I'm going to engage. So whether it's relationships or it's using a physical skill, for me, square is better. Wherever your feet are. I don't care what stance you're in. It doesn't really matter as long as you're square. Last little talk on slabs. How are you again, Pete? Tons of different ways to develop power, tons of different ways to use the hand. When I slap, I like to use the whole of the hand. There's nothing wrong with using this bit, except it's not particularly natural. It's not a move you do every day, whereas grabbing stuff and moving stuff is with the flat of the hand. So when I hit, it's the whole flat of my hand that hits. When this is this, it's almost the size of his head. So when I hit him in here beyond the shock and that small amount of trauma, it's the surface area. That's a lot of pain emanating into his body from there. That's a lot to deal with in there. The other thing with slaps that I like is that you can control how hard you hit. If I'm gonna, I won't use the pad now, I'll just use your body. Yeah, thanks. So I'm gonna hit Pete in the shoulder. I'll put you on the side there. Yay! Sorry, your back's okay with this? Yeah, good. So, let's look at a couple. So the first one, as I hit him in here, I'm going to pull it. So all it's going to do is make a nice bang, and we'll give him a little bit of pain, time to think about something. This is hard to do with a punch. Yeah? So as I hit here, as soon as I hit, I just bring it off. So I'm going to go and bring it in here. That still hurts. And if I hit you in the face with it, which is going to be the target, we can't practice with. So it's not smart, but in here we can practice. That's a bit of pain, causes no damage. There should be little to no evidence that I've done anything apart from a slightly red mark, which will go very shortly. The next one as I hit him is using all of the hand as one full target, and I go through. So if I'm trying to knock them out, or I simply want to move them, as I hit, I go through. So I'm going to go straight through. Pete's a big boy. So to be able to move his whole mass, and there's a lot of muscle in here, like he's solid. So when you hit it, there's a lot of feedback going into your own body, going, oh, it's a solid target, it's this, and you start creating a negative outcome for yourself before you even do it, because they're big and they're. But if you're just dynamic, as I'm not going to hit you now, if you're dynamic as you're going through, it won't matter. You'll feel how solid they are, but they'll still move. The last one, which I'm not going to hit Pete too hard with, is what I call the octopus. Okay? Yeah, it's not a nice one. The octopus hits you once, but you feel it twice. And it's longer lasting. I use this if I want to induce a lot of pain to you to make you think. Okay? All I do is I have soft fingers. So as I hit, I explode just beyond the surface. Okay? There's three basic ways of hitting a body. The most basic way, which is why most people can't hit hard, is they hit the outside of the body, they hit the skin. So when they hit, it's just here. The next part is they hit to the muscle. It goes a little bit deeper. And then that next part is hitting to the bone. So it goes in more. This one here, I'm going to hit just beyond the muscle. So I'll just show you because it's not fucking nice. So
do you want to see the mark, or would you rather do that?
They don't have to see it, to see the mark, do you? You'll be fine. You didn't even answer it, whatever. So I'm just going to slap in here. So again, it's a horrible noise. And it's a secondary, isn't it? There's that first impact. And then it's like, oh! And then all of a sudden there's a burning sensation. Yep. And it just lasts. So thanks, Peter. Stay still, thanks, mate. Again, that's used if I want to make them think. Okay, but it will leave a mark. Okay, that's the bad thing. So that'll even leave a mark through material, but if you hit someone in the face, they will have your handprint on their face, if done correctly. So maybe not the smartest one to do, it depends on what you're trying to do. But I might hit someone in the body with it if I want to make them think. Again, in this little session, it's been about power generation. It's a little bit of understanding. I want you to be your own science experiment. Every time your training is done, don't just go hard and fast. It's part of training, it's fantastic, it's great. Take the time to breathe. Think about what you're doing. Think about your posture. Understand the difference between speed and quickness, or speed to action and speed of action, because they're really important and they make a big difference between someone who can hit and someone who hits really fucking hard. I don't think it's that difficult. It really isn't, as long as you do it as yourself, not as the style or system. Just be you in anything you do. Hope that's been a little bit of fun. I might have a little bit extra of this, but you won't know until if Don puts it on or not. But thanks for watching. I hope you got a little bit of fun out of it, even if it was just my weird accent. I'd like to thank Pete for doing that and standing. You come in there, Pete. He did a great job and took some great slaps in there. It's great to train with big guys, little guys, older, but it's great to have someone who's experienced and big and can give you good feedback. And a big shout out to CTG, baby! CTG! Yeah! Hallelujah. That's great, mate.